thoughts on how intransigent the commissioner seems to remain on this issue?
Well, to me, I think it's legal in states where it's played. I'm curious what Jeff and Judy think, because it's hard to tell people who can go to the store, the dispensary in Denver or Seattle, and do something that is essentially akin to buying a beer in those states. And now, if you do that in the context of the NFL, you are vilified. I'm really curious to hear what Jeff and Judy think about that.
I have to think that that's a change that's going to come slowly to the NFL. I think eventually it will come. That's my personal opinion, not based on anything, but I think eventually it will come. But when you hear the commissioner say he's going to rely on his medical people, it's going to take not just his medical people, but his legal people more than anything to convince him, look, this is now, becoming something that is legal across the country. And as it becomes legal in more states, their hands are going to be forced, quite frankly. I mean, it's sort of crazy that the NFL would bar something if it's legal in a majority of the states in which they have teams. It would be strange to have their rules prohibiting players from doing something that every other citizen can do.
Well, and I think the marketing people would want to have a say in this as well, because it's simple to say it's legal here and you should be able to play football and have guys partake. But it's not that simple, because we all know, look, alcohol is drinking, but we can't go off and get buzzed and hammered and come on TV and talk about football. We'll have problems with our employers. This is more of a workplace issue, and that's what I've always argued. I think it's very interesting that question came in the same press conference where there were questions about Josh Gordon and questions about Johnny Manziel and how they are dealing with whatever problems they have.
But Jeff, we can have a beer. We can have a beer after we get off the set. In fact, I will. I will have a beer after a hard day of work. And that to me is the problem.
On the other hand, he's so amped up, I may find marijuana for him just to calm him down a little bit.
That's right, he may need her.
But listen, I get why you have to test for performance-enhancing drugs. As a consumer, you have to believe that nobody has a competitive advantage. But it's hard for me to imagine that going to the dispensary is giving anyone a competitive advantage other than pain management, which is something the medical people should look at.
And that's the button that I do want to put on it, which is a lot of emphasis is always on player health and safety. When it does come to marijuana, there is an argument to be made that it is a very viable alternative to possibly addictive painkillers, and that is something ultimately, as Judy says, that I think the league is going to have to address. All right.